It's really crazy how society has conditioned us to believe that there is something wrong with people who feel an emotional connection with someone after sex. Hey y'all, welcome to my channel. My name is Tynisha Renee, and here on Tynisha Talks, we keep it real, raw, and transparent. You may or may not know this, but for the past 3 years, I've been on an abstinence journey / period of self-reflection when it comes to my relationship with sex. I've been pretty transparent about this on my channel, so I wanted to give you guys an update on my sex life today and also give you some insight on why I chose to practice abstinence and some advice that I would have if you're thinking about starting your own abstinence journey. So stay tuned, please watch until the end of the video because there's some gems that you don't want to miss. I don't want to repeat what's been said in past videos, so I'll link some of my previous videos where I go into detail about my abstinence journey and how it started. But in summary, my journey started in 2019 when I experienced a really bad breakup / heartbreak. And it caused me to retreat and kind of go into my own little bubble for about 10 months. So 10 months of no sex, no dating, nothing at all, just me reflecting on myself. This reflection period is when I truly begin to understand the power of soul ties. A soul tie is an intense spiritual connection between two people that results in a mutual learning experience. It is important to note that you can have a soul tie with someone without being sexually involved with them. Deep conversations, emotional vulnerability, someone being there for you when you're going through a really tough time, these are all things that can lead to a soul tie attachment. But soul ties can definitely be created via sex. And I think that's what comes to mind when a lot of people think of soul ties. What I learned about myself is that I use sex as an attempt to form intimacy with men, which was bad because sex shouldn't be used as a tool to form an emotional connection with someone. Ideally, you would already have an emotional connection with that person before sex, and sex comes in to intensify the emotions that are already there. So for a long time, your girl was working backwards. I was subconsciously trying to force connection and compatibility that just wasn't there. Going back to soul ties, I realized that I struggled to move on from men that I've dated. So a situation would end, we go our separate ways, but then I felt like a small piece of myself was still left with that person. It could be a person who I stopped talking to for years. If I saw on social media that they were dating someone new or they had a child, they got engaged, I would get triggered. Now I want to pause here and say that this is a downside to having sex with multiple different people that impacts both men and women. Now obviously women are stigmatized more than men are for having a high body count, but I believe that many people are walking around with pieces of themselves missing in a sense because they never cleared the residue of these soul ties before moving into a new situation, but they don't realize it. When we don't sit and have these moments of reflection about our sexual history, it is very likely that we will create a pattern of transferring the energy of these soul ties when we have sex. Which brings me to my next point, energy transferring during sex. So at this point, I'm 10 months strong into my abstinence journey, and I ended up having sex with someone from my past. Please understand that your journey is not linear. A lot of people beat themselves up for caving and having sex and feel all this guilt, but you shouldn't. Every phase during your abstinence journey is a learning experience, and if you have sex and realize that it still isn't for you, that's okay. You can start your journey over again. And that's pretty much what I discovered about myself. Now I will say that I was able to remove the need to use sex as a tool to gain affection. It wasn't me trying to get the person that I was dealing with to fall in love and commit. But that transferring of energy was not it, honey. Please look at me and understand the words that are coming out of my mouth. Good sex is not supposed to leave you feeling drained, exhausted, and sluggish. Now, I know that some of y'all are probably thinking, sex is a physical activity, so why would you not feel drained or exhausted afterward? Falling asleep after sex versus feeling sluggish the day or days after you've had sex with someone are two completely different things. Think about when you're doing a workout, right? It might feel very exhausting in the moment, but usually you feel a burst of energy when you're done. Good sex, meaning healthy sex with a person who is spiritually healthy, should make you feel the same way. But if you are feeling anxious, depressed, stressed, or drained, you may have interacted with an energy vampire. Energy vampires are people who sometimes unintentionally suck the energy or the life out of you as a way of recharging themselves. These are people who could be going through their own mental health struggles, very self-absorbed, very critical of others, always in drama, just negative energy overall. And they literally see you as a light, a positive source of energy that can be used, because you are being used, to relieve these tensions. Just think about the people who have a bad day and their immediate instinct is to have sex as a way to relieve frustration. That energy has to go somewhere. The same way that a negative person can be around you and their energy just kind of kills your mood is the same way that a person who is in a low vibrational state can transfer their negative energy to you during sex. I could be feeling really good about life, you know, I'm on my grind, super energetic, and then I have sex with someone, and within the next week or so, I'm just like, dang, I feel like my energy low, I'm sad, I'm feeling depressed, like my energy is just off. Energy vampires. And I don't know about y'all, but a brief moment of physical pleasure isn't worth that weight that you feel afterwards. So with all of these things in mind, I am 1000% sure that I never want to engage in casual sex again. For me, this is a permanent decision versus aiming to be abstinent for a certain period of time. I would love to find a man out there who is open to waiting for sex until marriage, but at the very least, if that's not realistic, I at least need to be in a committed relationship with someone before I lay down with them. One thing that has made me feel more secure in my decision to abstain from sex is surrounding myself with other like-minded individuals. When I first came to Atlanta, I was around a lot of people who kind of glorified casual sex in a way. They really just didn't get where I was coming from with not wanting to be a part of that. I've now gravitated toward building close relationships with people who are on the same wavelength as me when it comes to sex, and it's helpful because they just get it. There's no pressure to be out in these streets moving unintentionally just for the sake of temporary pleasure. So this video is titled "The Power of Keeping Your Legs Closed," because there is a lot of power in being selective about who you choose to enter and who you allow to enter your body. It's really crazy how society has conditioned us to believe that there is something wrong with people who feel an emotional connection with someone after sex. We've normalized detaching our emotions from sex versus seeing the value in using sex as a way to strengthen an emotional bond that you already have with someone. You are seeing me naked, staring at me. You are inside of my body. That is one of the highest forms of intimacy. So I'm never gonna be that friend that encourages having a hoe phase or having friends with benefits as a way to get over a breakup, because I know how detrimental it can be to have sex from an unhealthy space. I'm just not gonna do that. So if you are currently on an abstinence journey, or if you're thinking about starting one, I wish you the best of luck. Spiritually, you'll know when it's time for you to detach from this casual sex / sneaky link culture that we are plagued with. It may not always be easy, but in the end, I've never heard someone say that they regretted practicing abstinence the way that I hear people say they regret engaging in casual sex. If you have any questions, or if this video resonated with you, go ahead and drop a comment, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye.